This is Penny. Welcome to my studio. This short video looks at making what we call snippets. I won't call them snippet squares because they're not exactly square. But we're going to start with white sheeting and make completely from the beginning. Colour them, stencil them, stamp them, and then turn them into these. So let's look at where we start, and that's with sheeting. We've got 4 strips of torn sheeting, and I tear it because I like the raw edges, and I tear it before I colour it because I like the edges to get stained as well. If you tear it after you've coloured it, the edges look different. The first thing we have to do, once they're torn, is to colour them, and we'll be doing each one a different colour. I used Art Spectrum pigmented inks, which I can dilute down almost to a watercolour consistency. But if you don't have those, then any water-based medium that you can dilute is fine. Now I'm doing the very narrow one, the 4.5 millimeter, and I've put a bit of yellow in the pot, and then put one tiny drop of violet in it, in the yellow, just to tone it down. And quite a lot of water. I didn't bother cleaning the draining board because I don't mind blotches of the old brown on it. The more the merrier, really. It just gives it an interesting finish. So now I'm set up to do the stenciling. I've got a couple of very basic, my go-to stencils. And one with dots, one with letters, and this one is a leafy kind of thing. And I've got water, and I've got 2 of them that dry at the moment, so I'm going to stencil these, and I'm going to use white and gold. It's not fabric paint because these won't be washed. It'll be very rough. It's not a detailed thing. I'm using a larger brush than normal, but and I've got paint in there. Now that should just give a very, yes, that's the effect I'm after. And I'm going to do the same on these. I'm doing both ends of the strip because it saves time. I've stenciled in white and gold over the full length of both these strips. So I'm going to now leave them to dry. The next step is to start printing. The print blocks that I selected were natural, like plants and birds. I like to work to a theme, and also they need to be small because the strip is only 4.5 centimeters wide, although you can use parts of a larger print block. Make sure that you're using a good stamp ink. If possible, always use a waterproof one. It can be difficult to find a really good waterproof one, but the benefit of having that is that if you want to add colour to your strip after you've stamped, it won't affect the images. Make sure when you're stamping that you do it on a regular basis right the way along the length of the strip, because once you start cutting your little rectangles, you want each one to have some sort of decent image in it. They'll all have stencils in it from the background, but the top image is important. For the first snippet, I've torn 4 pieces, 1 from each length of ribbon. So I've got the small one for the top, the second layer, the third layer, and the base layer. Once I've got my wadding squares, I'm going to just place them under, for example, place one under here, a small square of wadding, and then I'm going to stitch all the way around. Now each one has been laid on and stitched with a little floral embroidery stitch, and finally the yellow one has gone on with wadding underneath it. That's just one way of sewing it. You can do it by hand. You can do single stitching. You can use any embroidery stitch that you like. So here it is. I have chosen a yellow button to pick this up, and a little piece of purple lace that was cut from an old doily that I'd been using for a long time for a block for jelly printing. Here I've included a piece of tea-dyed net curtaining, and I'm now going to make a variation of a snippet out of that. You can see them both together on a dark background. And I could have put coloured butterflies in. There were quite a few different things that could have gone in here. But I decided to keep the tones the same. With the third one, I had decided to use this blue-green-grey butterfly, so I had to find something that echoed in the fabric. So I chose a piece of my scrap fabric that I had, which was done exactly the same way as the others, except it was plain, and I decided to use that as a narrow border for this blue, and the wadding will go under this blue, and the whole lot will be attached to the base, and then that butterfly will be attached, and those two will pick out each other. There are 3 of them. I did make an error in the stitching here. I had it set on the wrong pattern, but I didn't mind anyway, because it really doesn't matter what stitches you use or what you do, because everything seems to work out fine with these. You can't really make a mistake. We'll just pause for a design tip for a moment. I didn't do this deliberately, it was intuitive, and I've just realised that I've been using complementary contrasts on these with the violet and the yellow. Violet and yellow are opposite each other on the colour wheel, and whether they're fully saturated or whether they're dark or light makes no difference. They're still a complementary contrast. Here we have the first one we made, and another one there, and then this little one, and then this with the tea-dyed lace. And just before we finish, this is an image of a snippet that is slightly different to the ones we've been making. It's tea-dyed, and it's what I call a double puff snippet, because it's sitting on a little padded cushion, and then the image itself is also padded. If these little things are presented properly and placed in a cellophane bag, they make ideal gifts for friends that love textile work, and I'm sure they would appreciate them because of all the effort that you've put into them. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you know anyone that would like it, please share it with them. If you'd like to see more of my work, you can find my portfolio at pennyemo.crivado.com. I'll put that under the video. So until next time, thanks for watching.